Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. And I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020, Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And through that collaboration in 2022 and 2021, reached out directly and indirectly to over 100,000 fathers around the world. As always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. And it's August 21st. The sun is beginning to set slowly but surely on the summer. What is up, Ryan Knight?
Yes. Good to see you, Dr. Vibe. Enjoyed the sun yesterday, but I do feel that autumn chill. But for those that don't know who Ryan Knight is, I'm one of the co-founders of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network. We work with entrepreneurs of African and Caribbean heritage, really to figure out what stage their business is in, and then help them create a strategy to grow their companies exponentially. I'm also an entrepreneur myself. I do run a company called Detail Ignites. So we provide mobile waterless car cleaning. So we go to people's houses, their offices, clean their cars on the spot without using water, and our plant-based, eco-friendly cleaning supplies. And today I am not sore just from car cleaning. Tried golf yesterday. Thanks to Caravana Arts Group. They're doing their birdies and bacchanal. And yeah, I am super sore.
All right, no problem. We're glad you made it. We're glad you made it. That's the most important thing. Yes, let's do our ritual, good ritual on Monday mornings. This episode of The Morning Vibe is sponsored by the Macmillan Group, providing mortgage solutions one client at a time since 1999, buying, refinancing, or investing. Their phone numbers, 905-813-4354 in Canada, US 904-586-5636. So we are always happy to have them part of our Monday mornings. And also what I'm going to do, if it will come, there we go. It came off the screen. Also want to make sure that we give the full representation of them. And this is funny. Where is it? Where is it? I'm trying to find it. There we go. There we are. There's a full Canadian number, US number, toll-free North American number, and also the website address, McMillanGroupInc.com, email address, raycmcmillan@gmail.com. And Ray was on the Morning Vibe last Friday, and as usual, bringing the fire last Friday.
Yeah, I love that conversation.
It was really good. He always gets great, especially live engagement on between him and Wayne Harris. It's like a battle who gets the biggest high.
Oh, true.
Okay. Also here, some house, please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and also hit the notification button so you get notified. But the funny thing about that, YouTube throttles, because I follow some people subscribe to some people on YouTube. They have high numbers, and the notification isn't consistent.
Oh, okay.
Very, very interesting, but that's a whole other conversation.
Also, make sure remember to like as you're watching. Take a quick second and like it.
Yes, the likes help. The likes help. Thank you so much, marketing director. And also we want to make sure here to advertise your business or service on the show. Please email me at dr.vibe@thedr.com. And also, please, if you can, join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Email me at dr.vibe@thedr.com. I will later on this week start putting some posts up. I haven't My mistake. I have a feeling until I start putting some stuff up, people aren't going to join. So I'm going to put some stuff up. So you're sore from golf. Did you get a chance to do anything else over the weekend?
No, actually, Saturday was quite calm. So we had our training session for the youth entrepreneurship. That's usually 10 to 12. But then the afternoon was all with the kiddos and just relaxing, watching cartoons and playing Minecraft and trying these Roblox games. My daughter Jasmine was trying to teach me how to play these different games. But yeah, very relaxing. And then Sunday was out on the links. And because there's muscles in your body that you don't use, and then all of a sudden you're forced to use them, and you start feeling it twinge, and you're like, yo, I'm not gonna be no punk. I'm just gonna keep going, right? And like 18 holes, when we're at like 9, I'm like, oh snap, I'm feeling a little pain, but you gotta push through. Oh, and so shout out to our foursome with Lorraine. Lorraine who is the president of ACBN. Her and her husband and a good friend of theirs made the foursome, so I was able to join their team. Yeah, lots of fun. I'll share the pictures soon on our Instagram.
Was the event well attended?
It was. I think they got close to 100 golfers, and they're saying
what?
First time. That's really good. So yeah.
Where was it held?
It was out in Cambridge, Grand Valley Golf and Country.
So, that's a little bit of a hike.
Yeah, about an hour. So
how was the drive? How was the drive though?
Yeah, luckily the traffic was pretty good. So picking a Sunday might have helped with that, but it was good traffic getting out there, and coming back in the evening was not too bad.
Yeah, well, there was a number of things and I don't get out too much anymore, but I just saw a number of events. They had the Afro Carib Fest here in Scarborough, and I didn't go to it, but I saw a lot of people at that, and it seemed that in the last few days there seemed to be a concert I saw in my timeline with SWV. I think was in Toronto.
I did not see that.
I think
really?
I'm not sure, but there's just so much stuff going on that I just said, you know what? I'm just gonna chill. I'm just gonna chill. And I just don't. The traffic is just. You're good, but the traffic.
Some intersections with the construction are nightmares in Toronto right now. It is it's insane. But before, it's like you can manage it. Even with Eglinton, if you're going there, okay, it's gonna take a while. But like with Finch, roads are just closed. It's not even like you can't turn left, right. You don't even know what side of the street. It's very confusing. So, and the 401, holy moly, the 401, some nights they're just closed. Like 401 Express going east, closed. So
that's when you have to have a good. That's when you have to have a good GPS or Waze. You got to use that.
Every time now. Before you can kind of say, oh, I know where I'm going, but you don't know what's closed. So put it up.
Absolutely. So some friends are saying good morning, gentlemen, and everyone. Good morning, Fitness IQ Cam. The red and white lady is in the house, otherwise known as Red and White Lady. I know she was at the Afro Carib Fest. So she checked that out. Oh, you know what? And Donna Harrow. Good morning, Donna. Good morning. There we go. She's in the house. The McMillan Group. Good morning, Vibe and Ryan. Christopher Knight. Hey, Vibe and Knight. All right. Yes. Wayne Harris. Good morning, good sirs. Want to give a big shout out to Wayne and his beautiful, beautiful wife Angie, celebrating 31 years.
Ooh.
Together.
Love it.
And they just he put it out on Instagram, so he's the picture. They spent some time in Jamaica together. It was funny. I called Wayne on something and he goes, Vibe, I'm in Jamaica. Go, hang up. I don't want to get charged for the international call.
Yeah.
Yes. But outstanding couple that Wayne gets enough shine, but Angie deserves as much shine. But she's a silent person in the background, but she deserves as much shine as Wayne. So love and blessings to 31 years and continue 31 years. Aldofina Wilson says, greetings all. Frequency event promotions. says, "Good day, gentlemen." Fitness IQ Cam, our culture and arts expert, says it was the LL Cool J concert with
Oh,
the Root. Was that in Toronto?
wow. Is that for the 50th hip
I
hop thing?
saw people going to the LL Cool J concerts. That included the Roots, Queen Latifah, and Jadakiss.
Yo,
Wow.
serious
I would
lineup.
have maybe have
Serious.
gone to that concert because I'm a
Okay.
big fan of the Roots. I'm a huge respect for Queen Latifah and LL Cool J. Was that was that because I think I saw someone on my timeline
So
was
where
sitting in
was
front of
that?
LL Cool. So I have a feeling it was in Toronto, but I could imagine how much that concert cost to go to though, the tickets.
Hey, you're gonna get a break from Taylor Swift and Beyonce. I'm sure it would be a lot more reasonable than those.
Okay, Wayne Harris, thanks,
Mm,
Doc. Well, right back at you, Wayne. Uh,
mm.
right back at you, big time. Frequency of Promotion says, "Congratulations, Sir Wayne." Okay, Fitness IQ says, "Yep." So it was in Toronto. The
Nice.
Roots were in Toronto. Wow. Well, you know what? Well, I was gonna say, and the Frequency Event Promotion says Toronto is the new New York. Do you think that's the case, Ryan?
They're, I mean, Manhattan is a different level of city metropolis, but Toronto's, I feel like we're doing our best to mimic it. We have our Young Dundas, which is like mimicking Times Square.
Times
We
Square,
have our
yeah.
parking prices that are mimicking Manhattan parking prices. Although,
No, and Fitness IQ says, I think I sent it to you. I don't think so. And then Wayne Harris says, legends from the first 50 years of hip hop. So it sounds like
right.
it was here in Toronto. And you know what? I saw most of those people many years ago, so I don't need to. Memories are okay, but it's okay. I remember seeing Queen Latifah in her early days.
Right.
I remember seeing the Roots in the early days. So that's good for me. Sophia Jacobs says, "Morning, folks. Good morning from Ottawa." Sophia Jacobs, good stuff. Wow. So lots going on in Toronto, but can you fight the traffic? Interesting when we say about Toronto is the new New York. I was reading an article the other day about the 10 most expensive cities to rent in the United States. And I think 6 out of the 10 were either in the state of New York or in California.
Wow, California too. Okay, I can see that. But New York
Yeah.
is insane. Just those
Okay.
Netflix shows selling New York will tell you how madness it is.
So the Macmillan Group says Toronto is nowhere close to New York City, but Toronto is a beautiful city. Okay. Sophia Jacobs says, nope, not close to New York City. New York City is a whole other vibe for real.
Yeah, that's why I
Fitness
feel like we're
IQ.
trying to mimic it. We're definitely not there.
I don't
See
want
them.
us to mimic it, to be honest with
Yeah.
you, because it brings a whole bunch of challenges too. Fitness IQ says, so dang true, Ryan, mimicking expensiveness. Wayne Harris says everything costs. Well, absolutely. It's so much more expensive up here. Jabari Lindsay, long time, first
Hey,
time
good to
listener.
see
Joined
you.
the conference. Jabari used to be with the city of Toronto. You have a new position now, Jabari. I remember seeing a while back. If I don't know what I know, it's you've gone up sort of like the food chain sort of space. He's a very big managerial position. I'm guessing that's in Peel. I'm not sure, but would love to hear what you're doing. You can touch base with me on LinkedIn or myself. You must be catching on Ryan's LinkedIn, but love to hear what you're doing. And if you have time, definitely come on the show. And Shirley J, good morning all from the Black Canadian Content Creators. Had a great conversation with her last week. And Frequency Event Promotion says, I'm sorry we said this now. Toronto is up and coming. I don't want to be in competition with anybody because it brings you're just inheriting their challenges. We don't learn from other people's challenges. Let's do as going to hip hop theme, as Heavy D said, we got our own thing. Da 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 da. Let's do our own thing. All right. Let's do our own thing. All right. So guys, you guys are ready for an epic conversation this morning. It's just like, wow. Anything else we want to cover before we do anything of interest going on? Actually,
Well,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say really quick, how did the conversations go this weekend?
Oh, well, we did a repeat yesterday on Black Canada Talking, but on Saturday night, Aisha Jill and Lala. Whoo, whoo. But one of the stories we did talk about how Paramount pulled the sale of BET off the table.
Whoa. Okay, that's
And
so
a
that
lot of
was
people,
Tyler Perry was working on that?
well, allegedly the Tyler, there were rumors a number of weeks ago that Tyler Perry had bought BET, but Tyler Perry never confirmed it.
Okay. So it's
But
kind
a
of
number of people are alleging that Paramount just put it out there to see what they could get, and obviously it wasn't a price that they thought was good, so they've pulled it off the table. But the thing is, and we talked about it more in depth on State of Things on Saturday night. So if you want to go to the Dr. Vibe YouTube page, you can catch a repeat. Uncut, very uncut, but so ready for some colorful language. I know, Sophia, you're a Jill fan, so I know you will like it. But the thing is, streaming platforms, people got to realize that these Paramount has their Paramount Plus, Disney has this Disney Plus, etc., etc. These companies spend so much money on their streaming channels that the amount of subscriber growth, revenue growth is not equally, and they're losing money on streaming. Very perfect example, what's going on at ESPN. If you're a sports head, ESPN a few months over the last year or two have let go. Some people have been there for 20 plus years.
a lot of
big
their
contracts.
Right.
So that's a whole other conversation in the world of media. And you see people, if you follow ESPN, a gentleman like Stephen A. Smith, he has his own, many big media personalities now have their own podcasts now.
Right.
You know, there's another, like,
he shifted.
Well, Shannon Sharp, he left Fox, and there's rumors that, you know, Stephen A. Smith wants it, but he has his, is it Shea Room? It's Club Shea?
Club Shay.
Club Shea. He has built that huge. So he has built up his worth. So if ESPN wants him, they're gonna have to pay a lot of price because he brings that audience
right
over to the big network. So we could go on forever. So let's just get back. Liquid Green Health Show, and we'll get through. We got to get our guests going on here saying, good morning, guys. Some mimic New York City transportation roadways got to be improved. Yes. Divine Right, good morning. We've got everyone from the DMV area, and nope, we don't want Toronto to be in competition with New York. Look like it, etc. Let's be authentically Toronto. Yes, support from the DMV. Yes. Frequency event promotions goes. Toronto, though, is becoming a great host for concerts and festivals. Yeah, but the congestion? I don't know. And Sophia Jacob says, we'll get through these. Congratulations to Spain at the Women's FIFA World Cup. Such a great game against England. Yeah, they defeated England 1-0. And I think Spain, and I don't know the other country, are the only countries in the world, only two countries in the world have won a men's World Cup and a women's World Cup.
Okay.
Wayne Harris, yes. They wanted $3 billion. He offered $2 billion in regards to Tyler Perry and Paramount and BET. Fitness says it was an amazing conversation going back to last Saturday night. Definitely. Thank you for the promo. And good morning, Dr. Tachi, who hosts the livest program about media tech and pop culture called Mediascope, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesdays on Instagram, 6 p.m. YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitch and other platforms. And then Wayne Harris, England soccer teams are like the Leafs. We want to believe, but we really know better. Wow, and then we'll close it off. Fiona Gobin, good morning. All right, we're done. That is a huge roll call. All right, thank you, family. What a warm up. Sorry to our new friend that's coming on. We have to make sure our family gets, oh my gosh. Okay, one more thing. Sophia Jacobs. And this is something that a lot of people aren't realizing. Canada better figure out their issues with Meta. They're now messing with my news coming out on SVG. I don't know what SVG is. No, now when I hope on the Caribbean news pages. I can't see anything. Canada's blocked. Matt, you know, this is something I'm trying to
Whoa.
get clarity on. I've talked to
Hmm.
Roger Dundas about, hopefully, and he's has a better sense, but there's a big sort of war going on between the Meta, Google versus the Canadian government in regards, and I understand it sort of, but people in Canada that I'm seeing ads on it too. There's a big war against Canadian media companies versus the Google and Facebooks of the world. But I think it's something we need to chat about. But I got to do some more research or get someone like Roger Dundas from buyblocks.com on. Okay, we haven't. Oh my gosh. Oh, SVG, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Okay,
Oh,
thank you. All right. You can keep on putting your comments. We're going to put the brakes on them for a little bit because we got to get our new friend up here. I have had the pleasure recently to meet David Archer. He is a Black psychotherapist, and he's written now 4 books, but he is very highly qualified in this area. And I thought, yeah, let's get someone, a Black Canadian male, talking about mental health, because most of the people I hear sharing about it, and no offense, are Black women, but we have a Black gentleman named David Archer who's going to be joining us today. I call him Mr. 1-1 because he has a 1-year-old and a 1-month-old. So we just call him Mr. 1-1. Good morning. Good morning, David Archer. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. Is that my 1-year-old? He's 1 year and a month.
Oh, okay.
So,
1-1. That's right. You only have 1. Okay. I'd say, because I do remember in our previous conversations, you mentioned 1. I didn't know there was another one, but it's all right. It's all good. How are we doing this morning?
We're doing good. But if I did have that 1-1, I don't know if I'd even exist right now because I realize how challenging
this would be a lot more gray for sure.
Yes, exactly. It'll come, man. It's gonna come. I see little bits.
You're looking fresh.
I see little bits of it. But I wanted to thank you. I wanted to thank the both of you for sharing the space with me, and I'm just so pleased to be here. Looking forward to our discussion.
Well, I think for many people, they don't know who you is.
It's true.
Can you give a little background about yourself and family? Please feel to ask questions, interact. You know that's part of our vibe. So, David, share a little bit about yourself with us.
Sure. Yeah. So I come from the faraway lands of Montreal, Canada. But of course, we know that.
By the way, yes. you may want to think about doing a voiceover career because you got that deep voice.
Well, it's true. It's true. All credits to the genetics of my parents and my Jamaican.
Okay.
You know, the ancestors have blessed me with many things, but I think that the most important thing that they've blessed me with is that momentum of knowing that many of our ancestors were sent to Jamaica because we were quote unquote unruly, and we didn't want to take the oppression of the colonizers. And I think that in that same vein, we need to keep that same energy for our healing as well. Yeah. I look at therapy. Oftentimes what happens in our community is that we look at therapy as something that we don't do or that it's not our thing. But I'm trying to help people from all over the diaspora know that therapy, healing, these are things that our ancestors did do. And even though there's sometimes that you'll hear young people say they don't even read books, but the invention of paper took place in Egypt, in ancient Egypt, which was called Kemet. We call it the papyrus. And so if it is that we are not reading today, or we believe this is not what Black people do, if it is that Black people are saying we don't do therapy, I think we just need to reclaim these aspects of our past to bring it from the past into the present so we can really change the way how the future of our people is going to be. So I came into this field from being a computer programmer first. So I had a decade of experience doing software engineering. And then after that, I was also teaching. I did some teaching English for immigrants that were coming into the city. And I wanted to see, was it possible for me to do a greater change and something that would be able to help more people? So I got into the field of psychology, started to study social work, marriage and family therapy. And then I realized that there was something that was missing. I started to work in an Indigenous community. I worked for 5 years there as an addictions counselor. And I noticed that in a similar vein, when I was trying to help these people to get better, they wouldn't just get better by just talking to them or using this Eurocentric approach. We needed to talk about what happened to their people. We needed to start from the past. We needed to know that colonization was playing a role in why I was seeing the addictions affecting this person and this person and this person. So, in the same vein, if we are trying to restore the greatness of our people, we need to let people know that the Black story didn't just start when slavery happened. When I was working with the indigenous people, I needed to help to connect the importance of their language, their culture with their mental health. And I really do feel that as Black people, that we also need to just think a little bit outside of the box and use new methods and new approaches in order to restore that mental health and to kind of reclaim our strength, so that it's not only that we could feel a bit better, but we can do better as well.
Love
Good
that.
stuff.
And you find,
Go ahead, Ryan.
Talk a lot about the past and how that connects to how we're dealing with the present. But you did mention there's a lot of things that we used to do in the past or we were engaged with. So where along the lines do you feel like it was lost, and how do you kind of reintegrate that back into what we do now?
So it's a good question. I think that well, this is part of my introduction. As you see, if you ask me a question, I'm going to take 10 minutes to answer. Okay, but
It's okay. I think a lot of us just like hearing that voice, that ancestral voice. You know.
Yes. Okay, so it's really this is that my specialty is treating what we call post-traumatic stress disorder. So we know that there's a spectrum for mental health issues. So PTSD is at one end of the spectrum. And then there's also complex PTSD. When people get sufficiently traumatized, it kind of like, and if they are traumatized at key developmental periods in their life, then their symptoms get worse and worse. And then there's also dissociative identity disorder, which is another category. But when we think about trauma, it's that there's things that are in the past that have happened, and then we start to identify with these things. It changes the way how we look at the present, and it changes our conception of what can happen in the future. I think that us as Black people, we have been traumatized to the point that it's not only an initial trauma of slavery, and also even before European involvement, there was also the Arabs. The Arabs actually enslaved us in Africa. So just we don't usually talk about that, but the enslavement and the colonization actually was long and protracted. But the theory that I follow is that I guess like the traumatization is a re-traumatization that happens in the present moment as well. So we will be consuming media that is going to say that Black people should harm other Black people. Although I'm a lover of hip hop music, I do think the commercialization of rap music is kind of like miseducated us in some ways. It has made us that.
Just if I could just interrupt, maybe like another miseducation of the Negro. Maybe
That's what's up. Okay, wow. I like the drop. I like the drop right there.
Yeah, so right.
It's really that is that what happens is that it's not only just an initial trauma, it's a re-traumatization. It's not only that we have become Black after we were African, then we became someone else's Black, but it's that the media in some ways continues to construct the idea of what a Black man is. And I think that this is part of the reason why I'm one of the only Black psychotherapists that many people have probably seen. And this is why we not only need to heal from these traumas from the past, but we need to heal from it in the present and make it so that there are more therapists who are going to start to emerge, that there are more people that are going to be able to say, maybe we can get into this field, and that there are more people that will help other people to recognize the greatness. And that's my role.
Well, I want to just strengthen what you said. You're one of the few Black psychotherapists. You're one of the few Black male psychotherapists, even more, 100%. Right? Even so, I just want to jet to some comments. Destiny Savory. Good morning, Destiny Savory. Hope you are doing fine. Also, the Macmillan Group saying so much unpacked in that introduction. You know, yes. You think? Yes. Destiny says, yes, we need healing methods that cater to us using holistic ways from back home. Frequency event promotions. Vibe. Yes, this brother is definitely meant for TV, radio, and
Yes,
voiceover
let's make it happen,
commercials.
guys. Let's make
we
it
are creating the job posting right now.
All right.
Dr. Tachi, yes, it is important to heal from past trauma in the present. We just can't, quote, move past it,
Yes.
unquote.
Right.
Very
Yes.
good. Very, very good. Fantastic. You know what? Lorraine. Oh, look, your golf partner, Ryan. Lorraine
Yes.
is in the house saying good morning. Lorraine, are you as sore as Ryan?
They are seasoned veterans.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm
She
sure
did
they're
say
good.
that.
She's
She
avid
did say
golfer
it.
now. Yeah.
Oh, look, Dr. Tachi, when he speaks, I hear this is CNN.
All right.
Real.
That's high compliments.
That's funny.
That's high compliments. That's high, especially in
Thank
Dr.
you.
Tachi, one of my go-to people when it comes to media. The only when you share, it reminds me of a gentleman, Jonathan Juiceman Shaw, who's been doing voiceovers for years.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Lorraine says Ryan's past golf trauma is now over. Did he tell you? I know he didn't. He didn't tell me as much, but that's all right. And Lorraine says yes in regards to the CNN comment. So what we're going to do is we're going to take just a quick break because it's been so like a movie says, fast and furious the last few minutes, and we're going to come back, and what we're going to do is, I don't know, we'll maybe talk about more. We obviously want to talk about your new book.
Yes.
So maybe we'll come back and talk about your new book, and this is your 4th book, which is amazing. So congratulations on that. But we're just going to take a quick little break, come back on the Morning Vibe, and we're going to delve into this is the CNN of Canada.
You know, and that's what I feel like. You feel like you're the Harriet Tubman of the mind.
I am.
I feel like I'm I'm one of the Harriet Tubmans of intelligent Black people. Like, I want to liberate y'all from like being left behind and ignored and oblivion. Now, really, the rappers get all the attention. You know, seriously, does anybody else feel this way? Like ignorant Black people, they'll be all up, you know, getting all the headlines on the Shade Room.
Overly sexualized Black folks.
Like the twerkers and the, you know, just people that, you know, don't always represent the best of us, you know, the diversity, you know, like people like Dr. Vibe. Like, everybody should know about people like Dr. Vibe. Dr.
Really
Vibe he's trying to do good work for Black people. Dr. Vibe from Toronto. Good to see you, my brother. Dr. Vibe. Everybody follow Dr. Vibe. He has a great show. He's very good at what he does, and I have a lot of respect for him. Okay, so let me hop into this. What's up, Dr. Vibe? How you doing? Everybody, if you see Dr. Vibe in the chat, everybody go follow the Dr. Vibe show. Dr. Vibe is a real smart brother and a good human being. I like the guy a lot, and he's very intelligent. And I think everyone should pay attention to what he's got going on. We got to shine the spotlight on the intelligent Black people out here that are really doing the good work. Don't just pay attention to the rappers and the celebrities. You know, a lot of these people are losers. Your true winners are your people in your community that are really having your back. You know, helping us to have stronger families and a stronger community. So Dr. Vibe is in that category. So you might see the Dr. Vibe show in this chat. If you see him, please go follow him. Okay. All right. So anyway.
Yeah, shout out.
Oh, you're on mute. I can't hear nothing.
Okay, we're good now. Okay. So like the gremlins are going, like I don't mind hearing it twice, but I don't want to bore you guys. So we are back with David Archer talking about Black mental health and family. Bring the questions, bring the comments. Fantastic. Let me just see something here. Got another comment. Well, okay. Christopher Lawrence, we're going to get to your questions in a moment. We're going to get some more information from David first. So David, you've written 4 books.
Yes.
Do you want to just quickly go over the previous
Sure.
3 and talk about the new one for us?
Sure. So the first book is called Anti-Racist Psychotherapy, Confronting Systemic Racism and Healing Racial Trauma. That book was born out of the protests for Black Lives Matter that happened in 2020. And I felt that I needed to explain to people who were trying to say that racism is just in our heads. I needed to explain the neurobiological explanation for how the suffering happens, and also to explain how to treat it. The second book was called Black Meditation, 10 Practices for Self-Care, Mindfulness, and Self-Determination. That book was because while I was working in Montreal, and as you said, I'm the only Black male psychotherapist who does this type of trauma treatment in my province that I know of, there were a lot of Black people who were not able to meet with me, and a lot of Black people who were like, yo, I'm not going to go see a therapist who's going to blame me for racism or who's going to say that racism's in my head. So I made a self-care book for Black people to just get a stronger racial identity and to do some of the techniques that have been helpful for me and also some of my clients. The third book, Racial Trauma Recovery, Healing Our Past Using Rhythm and Processing. This was a book that was meant to explain my clinical approach and to teach other therapists. It's a training manual that goes with the workshops that I provide to help other therapists to know how to use an approach that's by Black people and for Black people and is meant to eliminate the mental health consequences of racial trauma. I've since presented at different conferences, workshops in Toronto, in Quebec. I went to Kentucky a few months ago giving a plenary talk to explain this approach. And so the scientific community largely has been supporting this and been like, yo, where's this been all of our lives? And so what I want to do is to not only eliminate the mental health consequences of racial trauma, but to increase the number of Black therapists, especially, as you said, Black male therapists, and also anti-racist therapists of all identities. So this is the reason why my fourth book is called Black Mountain Fight for the Future, which is a science fiction novel that's just meant for people who may not necessarily be super open to all the clinical and academic speech in the first three books. I wanted to make it so that there's a story that involves youth who are impacted by a system that treats people badly based on color and based on race. And these people do some ancestral ceremonies to gain strength and powers so that they can fight like a Japanese anime, I guess a mix of Dragon Ball Z, if your audience is. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of
is Naruto mixed in there too?
Pardon me?
Is Naruto mixed in there too?
So the thing is, Naruto, that's a bit, I'm a bit old school.
Okay.
But I'm glad that you said that. Okay, so I know I'm in good company. You guys know what's up. So I wanted to
hold on, I'm blind on this, so it's you and Ryan riding the bus here. All right. Okay, you go. I'll put my black screen up. Go ahead.
Yes. But it's really to say we need to stretch the imagination of what Black people are and what they can do. And so in the book, it's really that the people on their planet, because it's in the future, it's what we call an Afrofuturistic novel. And it's just that the world is threatened by similar things that we face. And what my clients are bringing to my attention, things like climate change, like, the stress of whether they'll have a future, the stress of AI technology and how much it seems to be changing the environment for a lot of people and how it leads to a lot of uncertainty. So then these youth go through the ceremony so that they could defeat the global oppressor that's threatening the world and also their futures. And yeah, so that book, strangely enough, even though it's a science fiction novel, it follows the canon of the previous three books, so that if people want like an exciting story and still to understand what anti-racist psychotherapy is about, what Black meditation is about, what racial trauma recovery is about, then that's the book for like everybody. The other books are more, I guess, specialty, but if you want, you could buy all of them. Like I'm not going to stop anybody. But I do recommend, yes, I do recommend that people at least support Black authors, because when I was younger, I didn't even, it's like as a young Black man in like the Montreal area, we didn't even feel books were for us. We knew that hip hop music, we knew rap music was for us. We knew there were certain things that were marketed to us. But even back in the day, me talking about Japanese anime and stuff, you couldn't even talk about those things. It was very a small box in terms of what we could be as Black people. So as a person who liked video games, as a person who liked to read and to study, it's like I felt as if who I was different. And also I felt as if the system I was in would still say, like I had many teachers tell me I'd never set foot in a university, even though I was like building computers. So it was very interesting where the outside society was saying, this is who I am and this is what I can do. And so that's why my work is about kind of kind of turning the tables on the whole thing, making it so that Black people can be whatever they want to be, and ultimately making it so that I become the therapist I always wanted to meet. And if I do that, I can one day train my replacement so that there will be someone else in the future that will be able to make it so that my son could meet the therapist that he needs to meet if he ever needs to meet one.
Okay.
Love that.
Stop. Okay. Stop. Okay.
This is CNN. No, sorry.
No, it's not.
Yes.
Okay. So a few things. First thing, we're broadcasting some of this on Instagram Live. So shout out to DJ Dr. LJ Speaks, the cocktail brand. Speak with Candace. We've got to definitely catch up. Jamin Lucis Mendez, what's up? Jatea Jones, what's up? What is up? We are having an epic Monday morning conversation with David Archer about all things mental health from a Black male lens and family. This guy, can you hear? He's the real deal. Like, people are watching live. You're not leaving. So obviously there's something of a serious value, whether it's the voice, whether it's education, whether it's knowledge. Yes. I have his book up here, his newest book here called Black Mountain, The Fight for the Future. But I'm going to say, David, are you all right to go past the top of the hour? Because there's enough questions to take you till 12 noon, but we're not going to 12 noon. So we're going to get, and my co-producer, she's going to have to really be able to roll with me. So let's comments wise, I don't even know where. Okay, let's go to, all right, we'll say the questions for a bit. Donna Harrow.
Yes, Donna.
Saying, David, this is a surprise. I'm glad you met my other friends.
Yes, Donna,
next up,
awesome person.
Yes. Next up, Sophia Jacobs would love the audio of these books. That's a great idea. And that's what I was thinking. The audio of these books would be.
Can I say, Sophia, you're in luck because anti-racist psychotherapy and Black meditation I recorded them through my voice. And I did that intentionally for Black meditation because when we're reading a person going through a meditation, it's very different. So I tried as much as possible to make it so you would be in my session. I would be using my voice and my tonality. So I've gotten a lot of great feedback for those two books.
Nice. There you go. All right. Next up, Divine Right. Oh, okay. It's my producer. She has got to really challenge you. And the software is a little bit challenging. Okay. Yes. OMG. It's for some reason it's not coming up. She says, OMG, my 12-year-old son loves Dragon Ball Z. It has made a comeback with his generation.
Yes.
Yeah, it did.
Yes, I'm really surprised about that, but I'm glad to hear that people know what this thing is. So
yes.
Okay, well, we have a good audience, serious audience. Hayton Morrison says, "Good morning, all. Agreed on understanding the impact of colonization, but how important is it for us to understand the colonizers, their mentality and brutality, and all the lies we've been told?" What are your thoughts on that one?
So I just want to make sure I understand. It's that we agree that there's the understand. So I think
how important is it you understand the colonizers, their mentality and brutality.
So many other writers before me have written about this. Is that because our ancestors were attacked for so long, in a way, we hold this double consciousness. And I don't want to misquote who it was. I think Frantz Fanon spoke about this. But I think
there's a serious name there too. There's a serious name too.
Well, the thing is, if you look at the second page of Black Mountain, you're going to see that that's the introductory quote for the book.
Wow.
Is each generation, if you put it up, I can say it, but I'll just paraphrase it. Each generation has the responsibility to learn their purpose and either fulfill it or betray it in relative opacity. And that quote for me, it means that we have a responsibility that we need to actually put into place here. I do think that if we don't do anything about the problems in our society, we're betraying the purpose of why we are here in the first place. To respond to this question that this person was saying is that I think part of our responsibility is to know the game that has been played of telling Black people that they have no history, or that their history is only restricted for Canadian heritage moments on, you know what I mean? Or restricted only for being taught in these Florida classrooms. It's like, no, actually our history extends before white people were white. Like our history extends before white people like even had universities. We were having universities in Africa. So it's true that we do need to know the lies, but I do feel when we talk about double consciousness is that Black people to some degree know white people even better than white people know themselves. It's like I'll put it in a different way, is that if you are under attack, you have to know how the oppressor thinks in order to maintain your survival. You need to know what they like and what they dislike. So I think that Black people are in a good position to be able to understand and to speak about racism, but at the same time, we can't just be limited to just being only anti-racist. We can't be limited to only being responding to suffering or responding to violence, because our ancestors didn't build those pyramids with anti-racism. They built the pyramid with community focus, with everybody working together. The lies that they'll tell you is that that was built by slaves or enslaved people. That's false. That's not how the pyramids were built. And I don't even have enough time to talk about Dr. Mulata Ashby and all the other people who can help to inform how those things were built. Those pyramids were built with generational intention, the community coming together, but just we do need to focus on dispelling or like getting rid of the lies, but we also need to focus on strengthening our people at the same time. So the focus cannot only be fighting, it also needs to be healing and recovery. I hope that answers that.
No problem. I'm just trying to catch up with the comments here. So next,
yes. Sure.
No, that's all right. Frequency Event Promotion has hashtag support Black authors.
Thank you.
Sophia says, love this. Let's get this out to our young minds and hearts. Christopher says,
respect.
Reversing the imposed narrative, powerful. Sophia says, epic. So right. I am not leaving.
Thank you.
Fitness IQ Cam says his voice is so smoothing.
Oh, thank you.
Divine Right says, I need to get a contract. Need David to get a contract with Audible. I'm just saying. Give me someone wants to be your agent.
I see 2 agents in there already.
All right, 2 agents. Okay. The Liquid Green Health Show. What up? Glad you referenced the anime character. It may be animation, but it's a spin-off from the African mythology. The Horus set conflict.
Horus,
I don't know what that Horus. Okay. Go ahead. You want to talk about that, or you just go ahead?
Well, let's go through all the comments first, and I just want to see what else is there.
Okay, Sophia Ram. Well, after the comments, and there's questions, so just be ready. I'm just going through the comments. I haven't got the questions yet. Okay. It says do a video on meditation on YouTube. See, your agent's already getting on you.
Yes.
Dr. Tachi says Divine Right. Hey sis. Dr. Tachi also says yes. Franz Fanon and double consciousness. There you go. Divine Right. Hello, Soror Tachi. Fitness IQ. That quote is powerful. I don't know. There's been so many. And then Divine Right says dropping serious gems. And then Aldofina says, yes, the art of war. What else we got? Well said, David Archer.
Wow, thank you.
Sophia Answer says amazing answer. Okay. Now we're going to get to questions.
Wait, before we get to the questions, I don't want to lose that.
Okay, Ryan, get in because we're going to go for a while here. So keep on going.
Yeah, David, you wanted to touch on, was the horse that Liquid Green was talking about?
Yes.
So yeah, you want to touch on that real quick?
Well, I don't know specifically what that is. I'll be honest, is that I don't know specifically, but it's that so this may be a little controversial. Brace yourselves. But
welcome to the Dr. Vibe Show.
Yes. Okay, that's what's up. Okay, so okay, So it's really to say that some of what has been packaged to us in terms of religious ideas actually came from Africa, and it's just it was repackaged and then given to us. But there's some similarities that you'll see in many religions that they don't always say where they don't always cite their sources. Let's just say it in that way.
Mhm.
So there's some things that we will see with the stories of like let's just use for example so they call her Isis. It's okay, and so Isis is, I believe it's a set. I want to make sure that I get this stuff right. I believe it is a set. I'm going to double check because I don't want to give misinformation. There's too much misinformation. Yes, so Aset is the original name of this person, and there's some. It's just this is an Egyptian goddess, and it's just that there's some pictures that you will see that show like Mary and she's with Jesus, baby Jesus, but the original image does resemble what Aset was doing with her child. So I just want to say that just as an introduction of knowing that there are, even when we talk about the 10 commandments, some of the 10 commandments were taken from the 48 laws of Ma'at. And we just need to know that there were things that happened before the religions that we follow in this moment. And we need to know to some degree that sometimes when they say there were things that we are told that were, I guess, like either pagan or things that were bad for Black people, but they're really saying the things that were bad or that were pagan were our ancestors and the beliefs they had before they came in. So it's important to know that some of the origins of Christianity did not start in Europe. That Ethiopia, I believe, was one of the first Christian nations. And I just want, so there's so much to say there. And I don't want to.
That's why you're coming back. Don't just,
Yes.
give the appetizer. Just give the appetizer here. We'll get main courses in other other conversations. Yes. All right, let's stop it there. More comments. Aldofina says, yes, the anime Horus connection is a whole other show. Yes, you just heard part of a whole other show. Dr. Tachi says, I would love him to do a meditation series on Indie Soup. So Indie Soup is a new network that Dr. Tachi is launching with independent content creators. We can talk about that offline if you wish.
Sounds cool.
Aldofina says Egyptian mythology has been very washed down and, quote, repackaged, unquote. Yes. Frequency event promotions. You got agents out there already. I feel an archery boot camp for the conscious mind is coming soon. Spring of 2024 location, Toronto, Canada. Would love to connect with David. Vibe will connect for the intro. I just put his contact information up. I was going to put it up sooner, but there's been so much engagement going on. I haven't had a chance, but I'll put it back up. Divine Right says, agree, Dr. Tachi, about you doing on Indie Soup Media. And okay, so now we're going to get into questions. These are just comments. All right, so there's David's contact information. Producer. Okay, so you see I've started some things, producer, so we're going to go through those. So first things first, question. Christopher has a question for your guest. What is the client group that David works with?
Yes, so I mostly work with young adults, and I want to say like 18 and up. So I do have some clients that are mostly in their I want to say mid-20s, mid-30s. I do have some clients that are in their 50s, but it's usually that range of age.
Okay.
And I also want to say that I work with people of all backgrounds, identities. So I have LGBTQ clients. I have refugees, immigrants. I work through organizations as well. But the problem is that I'm completely booked because I guess they like the CNN news. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
if you try to email them, I'm going to see if I can bring up the email response you get if you try to email them. But you see why. And it's funny too, because there's someone in my constellation who I mentioned I was going to be interviewing you. They go, oh, he's fantastic. And they're non-melanated. I'm not going to say who it is.
Okay.
But they said him very good. So Next up from Christopher Lawrence, is there a specific workshops that you deliver in person or online?
That is in the works right now. But if you go on archertherapy.com, add yourself to the mailing list, and as soon as it's out there, I'll let you know.
Mhm.
Excellent. And I wanted to shout out on Instagram, Dr. Tachi is listening on Instagram, and also classic_C_gems. We are having a marathon with David Archer about mental health and all the wonderful things that he is doing. Next up, we have Wayne Harris has a question here. Being born in Montreal, I experienced Black, white, and English
Yes.
racism and prejudice. I left in 1990. How is it today for the Blacks of English heritage? Good question.
Yeah, so I mean, it's really complicated here. I was actually having a conversation with this with a white Quebecer yesterday, and because I feel that, and this is what I explained to her, because I was talking about the experience of racism, and she was like, "Oh, I thought this was in the past," and I said, "Well, no, it's not. I'm the author of Anti-Racist Psychotherapy, so clearly, clearly, I'm experiencing something that's going on." And she said, "Well, how come?" She said something like, "Well, how come like we don't hear about it that often?" And what I explained to her is that I believe that in Quebec, the Quebecois identity is seen as the oppressed group in the society. So there are laws that are meant to promote the usage of the French language, because to some degree they feel that their language is threatened. So it's that they have been oppressed and they have been colonized. So if your identity is that you yourself have been colonized, you cannot necessarily be colonizer at the same time. And so there are Black Anglophones that are here, but politically, I think in terms of mobilization, I think that in Toronto, you guys have there's like more closeness and actually more power with the group. I think a lot of times with the referendum, it scared a lot of us Jamaicans out west. I think that in the early 90s,
Yes,
everybody was like, yo, let's get out of here. So in my family, we also did have that option, but it was my mother who really said, no, this is the place that we chose to live, and we're going to find a way of being able to make it. And it was through the grace of my mother and like the work that she did and my family of being able to cultivate a strong Jamaican identity and a love for ourselves and a love for our people that made it so that it's like that we didn't assimilate. We found ways of being able to make it so we could survive and that we can thrive. But it is very challenging. It's that there's little communities and little pockets in Montreal, but I feel that Toronto is much better situated. But I really do feel that it's going to be that collaboration between different maybe between different provinces and between different communities that's going to lead us to all feel supported. But I do need to underscore though is that the Black Anglophone in Quebec has a unique problem because they're affected by this racism. The premier believes there's no such thing as systemic discrimination and has been quoted as saying that multiple times. And so racism is this invisible problem. But then as an Anglophone is that you're in a province that also is saying that French is the dominant language as well. So then there's this extra level of invisibility. So this is what my clients are presenting to me. My Anglophone clients, when I ask about their trauma history, they will talk about the referendums. They will talk about the fact that they feel that there's less opportunities for them. But because of the context of the province, we're not necessarily allowed to critique it. We're not supposed to say that this is an issue. So it's complicated. It's really complicated as the
say the least.
Yeah. Next question. Sophia Jacob says, I wonder if the topic of women being too masculine nowadays ever comes up. I ask because that's a lot of what's being talked about in the blogs and podcasts hosted by men.
Okay, so this is an interesting topic. I did have a client that was so this is a woman who believed, I remember one of her first things she told me is that she said that because she's at an advanced age and also because she's Black, that no one wants her. And I said, this is news to me. I never knew that this is the case. And she said, no, this is what's being said on social media. And I said, well, I don't use social media in this way. And so she explained there are these people that are out there. Actually, you guys might know of red pill things. There's discussions
Yes.
of like, yeah. So what happens is that there are some women that consume that type of media that if there is a vulnerability for your self-esteem, you can listen to something that says that you are worse and get validation for it. It's almost this masochistic thing. I think that we as Black people, we do this sometimes unconsciously as well, is that there's not always good media like the Dr. Vibe show. There's not always good media that will help us to feel good about ourselves. And so we don't even realize that we are being pushed into maybe this like, it's like an automatic like response of consuming things that are bad for us. There are many things that we do and practices that are not in our best interest, but we do them automatically.
And
this
then
client
in that bubble, right?
Yeah.
Information. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. And it's almost like an echo chamber sometimes, is that if you're only in that bubble, how can you believe anything differently? So how can I blame the client for this? But it was when we were able to scrutinize these beliefs and start to ask, did you choose this belief? Or as Malcolm X said, who taught you to hate yourself?
Right.
Like, yo, it's when you get to the point of, where did this belief come from? Was it adaptive for me or adaptive for the oppressor? When we get to that perspective, and when we're able to address these unconscious beliefs at that conscious level, then we can change them. And so I'm happy to say she's in a loving relationship now. Is that we had to clear out some of the beliefs that she had, and also some of the traumas based on her gender, based on her race, and then the person that she needed to be in a relationship with emerged. That person was probably always there, but because this belief was in her mind, it blocked her access of even seeing herself as worthy of a relationship. And once we changed that, the rest, I guess, the dominoes fell, and the rest is
the universe works. Universe worked, right?
That's it.
All right. Just before we continue further, I'm going to shut down the conversation on IG Live. I usually don't go this long on IG Live, but the conversation has been so rich and epic. But Dr. Tachi, you're watching us on multiple platforms. Going to shut it down. But everyone who watches on IG Live, hey, join the Dr. Vibe Show YouTube page, subscribe. And if you go there right now, you can watch the conversation live, or you can watch on the replay. So as always, like to say, make sure you give yourself grace and don't just manage your time, manage your energy, and we'll see you on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next conversation piece. Share Knight says, good morning. It must be very challenging to establish trust with clients. In our community, unfortunately, not a lot of folks only associate therapy with getting a prescription. I thought it'd be interesting to give a comment on that.
Sure. So it is challenging to establish a rapport if what you're doing is the typical conception or the idea of what therapy is. But I'm not that. I think from the moment that you're a Black man in the society, it's a political statement. I think from the moment you go outside, it's a political statement to be a free Black man, and even to be a professional,
or a free Black woman either. Free Black woman, and also.
Yes,
Black
definitely.
Person, period.
Yes, and because many of my clients actually, I have more Black women than Black men, and that's in part due to this belief that Black men must not be vulnerable. So I have Black men that come to meet with me, but it takes it. I think it's even harder for a Black man to be able to go and meet with a therapist, because then they have to admit their vulnerability to another Black man, and then there's a belief that they'll be rejected because of it. So women in general seek therapy at higher rates than men. This is because the society makes men believe that you're the one who has to solve your own problem, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Women are actually more allowed to ask for help in our society. And this is why this idea of race, although you'll hear me say I'm an anti-racist, I believe the idea of race is just rubbish. I also think the idea of gender, this is something that is constructed. These things are not real. So race is not real because many of my African clients, they come to Canada, then they're Black. Like before that, they weren't even thinking in terms of being Black.
Right.
You know what I mean? Same thing with South Americans as well, is that you're in your country and then you go to the States. Now you're Latina. Now you're Latinx. And it's like, what is the impact of having these labels on us? So when I meet with my clients, they need to know that the therapy that I am doing is working a little differently. I'll give you the condensed idea of it. It's that oftentimes when a person is stressed, they're going to have some activation in the HPA axis, so the stress response system in their brain. When they're stressed to a certain degree, there will be an association between certain triggers and certain events that have transpired in their lives. So talk therapy does not always respond to that type of association. So I am not a talk therapist. So the way how changes happen is not with words. It's not with explanations from a dictionary or from the diagnostic statistical manual. It's not that I'm reading from a book and telling the client, this is how you become smart like me or anything. I turn the whole idea on its head, is that the way how people heal is by their infinite creativity. I bring their ideas of what an ancestor is to the forefront. I bring their idea of what healing music, healing imagery, it's them that brings in the way of changing their suffering. And when we are able to put the person that we are speaking to, regardless of their age, I've done this with teenagers as well. It's just that I need to focus my attention, and I have too many people. So I have to say, these are the people that I work with.
What a problem.
It's
too many people.
Yeah, but it's a problem.
Plus I have a 1-year-old. Too many people. Plus I have a 1-year-old.
You know what I mean? But the problem, it's, of course, some people may say it's a good kind of problem, but the problem is that this is systemic racism. This is what makes it so that I have no one to refer to, is because they're not graduating enough Black male therapists, and they're choosing to graduate other types of people. But anyways, to get back to what I was saying, is that when we are able to make it so that the way of healing comes from the client, they increase trust and motivation in the therapy, that they understand that it's not this charity thing, or that I'm not like going to teach them that I'm better than, or they should be more like me. The idea is that all people already start with inherent dignity and value, and my job is just to elicit that and remind them of their awesomeness.
All right. Next up, Shirley J says, so profound. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this racial ideology that some non-melanin people claims their race will disappear in the near future. It's like there's I don't know what the why is. Why of everything. I'm scared of something.
It's like they scared. Well, the thing is, it makes sense that they're afraid, because the idea of whiteness was built through fear. If you read Resmaa Menakem's work, he'll talk about how there's trauma that's in the white body. When the colonizers came here, many of them didn't come of their free will. There are many women in Quebec, I think it's called Les Filles du Roi. Okay, these are the daughters of the king. Okay, there were many girls who were brought from France here who did not necessarily want to be here, but they had terrible conditions over there. So they had to come over here and then become white. They had to justify the enslavement and the violence towards indigenous people by saying that there are white people, or people who are good, and then people that are not good. So when we talk about racialization, we just need to know that there's a function that's behind it. And I think that when we speak about what we are currently going through, we also just need to know that this is something that was created, and so then it can't be destroyed. But we just need to increase our creativity and increase our range of options, and then we can have a path forward. But we need to really challenge these ideas. The racism itself is not something that is located in just the intellectual parts of our brain, which is why you'll hear many people that will have promises with diversity, equity, and inclusion in all of this. And you cannot necessarily solve the problem of racism with the cognitive understanding, because it's a fight or flight response. it's in the realms of psychotherapy of challenging the fight or flight response, of making it so people can feel calm. That's going to prevent the white person from just bursting out and using the N-word for no reason. Like that's not they're not making a cognitive decision. It's really, they feel their survival is at stake. And to some degree, the reason why you will see that there's this fear is because their birth rate is low. Their birth rate is lower than Black people. And to some degree, it's of the system's creation, is that people that are oftentimes in poverty, they often have more children than people that have like more means, and they forced poverty onto us. They've constructed poverty. They forced us out of their systems. And so it's true that their numbers are going down. It's true that I think it was in 2018 or 2017, it's in my third book. And again, I'm a sleep deprived parent, so forgive me if I forget some of these numbers. But in those years, it was one of the first times that 15-year-olds and lower in the United States, it was the first time that they were a minority. So it is true that white people are going to be a minority, but it's also true that whiteness is fake. It's also true that it doesn't even exist.
Right.
There's a topic for a show right there. Whiteness is fake.
That's what I'm saying. There's so much. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think that I'm writing that down for a topic for you to come back and
sure.
I think that'll get a few eyeballs. Okay, I'm writing that down. Sorry to interrupt. Keep on going if you want, or we can move on to another question.
Let's move on, because as you said, it's a whole show. But
yeah, that's right.
People have to know race is not real. It's not a real thing, because white people came from Africa. They didn't start in the icy lands of Europe. No, they started in one of the most diverse climates. Africa is where Homo sapiens spent the largest amount of time evolving. And then they went to Asia, then they went to Europe. But without Africans, there would be no Europeans. So that's why when we have this one drop rule in the States of one drop and then you're Black, it makes no sense, because all you white people are Black people then, because you come from us. We're your grandfathers. We're your aunties. We're your uncles.
All right. Next up, this is the last. Well, there's a few more questions coming, but this set of questions, please speak. Hayton has, and this could be a whole week of conversation, but please speak more about the 48 laws of I don't know if we want to save that for another conversation, because that's whole. Go ahead.
It is, and also I will say that I think there are guests who can do more, who can honor that better than I can. So I'll say that I have an introductory knowledge of the understanding, but it's just to say that there were laws, or there were statements that a person had to utter in terms of, I have not harmed someone, I have not lied, I have not. There's like 48 things that a person says, like I guess in relationship to their judgment and transitioning to the next realm. But I think there are experts on that who can do more justice to it. But it's just to know that some of those laws, or those utterances, or those laws, they really resemble the 10 Commandments in a way that makes me think, wait a second, was there maybe a little bit of reading? Because I mean, Moses, he was in Egypt. So like some of these guys were in that area. So why wouldn't they have also studied from the Egyptian mystery schools? Or why wouldn't they have known some of the knowledge that's there? And when we talk about Socrates and Aristotle and Plato, look, we're going to need a whole another show to talk about everything that they may have taken.
That's why you're coming back.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I'm so excited.
If you choose to. So now let's get back to some comments. Dr. Tachi says, interesting that they don't see themselves as colonizers when that was never their land to begin with, but I'll be quiet. Sophia goes, not picking on anyone, but a lot of Black men listen to the red pill theory these days. That is true. And it was Kevin Samuels too, right? That is large falling, continuously large falling. Wayne Harris says, love it. Got a hard stop. Peace. We'll watch the replay. That was almost 10 minutes ago. Sophia says, Sophia says, our young post-secondary students need you. I hear from them all the time, including my own daughters, who feel out of their skin.
Okay.
Sophia also says, totally understand. You allow us to see the creativity of our own healing and value in your eyes, Doc. Nice. Next up, we've got Sophia in capital letters. That's right. We are the first people of the world. Love it. Christopher says, there is a documentary called Real Eve. Has anyone watched this? I've never heard of that
I haven't seen it.
documentary.
Okay.
Liquid Green Health Show, good point. Wellness is about status, not a race.
Whiteness is about status.
Whiteness is about status, not a race. Okay, we still got some more questions. So coming back, frequency
Sure.
event promotion saying, seeing that society is very status quo, what would you like to see from society when it comes to mental health support?
Okay, well, first is that mental health needs to be a human right. It doesn't need to be something that someone pays for. And housing, food, we have these strange insecurities that are in our culture or in our society that I believe are constructed and that are intentional. I was speaking on another podcast a few weeks ago, is that you'll see sometimes, because I follow a lot of politics, as you might tell, I'm a kind of a political person, and it's that sometimes in the southern states you will see that there will be white people that will vote against their own interests to kind of maintain an oppressive condition. Is that it's a surprise that they don't have universal health care in the United States. And also remembers that for us in Canada, it was also a fight at the time before it came in. It didn't really come in that easy because there's this fear of communism and socialism and these words that people will say and they don't really understand. I mean, me included. I'm an expert more in psychotherapy, so I don't want to stray too far off. But I can't help it. I love to talk about stuff. So it's really that in the States, sometimes they'll say that, no, like, we don't want like people to take our jobs, or we don't want people to benefit, these freeloaders and all that. But then there's so many poor people in the United States. To some degree, you'll see that there will be white poor people that will vote against their own interests in order to maintain this fake advantage of whiteness. So there is rampant poverty in the United States. And I'm surprised that people have not said that we need to deal with these issues of poverty, of being unhoused. But then you would also need to then take into account that many people who are undocumented would also need to get these rights. And I think to some degree, people will say it's better that these undocumented immigrants suffer, so that even though I'm going to suffer, they won't get the same status as me. Therefore, they cannot compete. I think a lot of what racism is and what this discrimination is about preventing people from competing because of the insecurity of the power structure. You'll see it not only in terms of gender in the workplace, because as I said, I have female clients that will tell me that they have been blocked by like a glass ceiling, but then the black women are sometimes blocked by a glass ceiling imposed by white women, because sometimes people will vote against. This is what I'm saying. There's so many conversations that are
all
in this,
right.
but
Well, that's why again we're this is the tease, this is appetizer.
Okay,
Two
cool,
more
cool.
quick questions, one to answer, because we're gonna
Sure.
have a hot stop definitely in the next 10 minutes maximum. Christopher Lawrence says, curious, has David done any work in Toronto at all?
So I have done some workshops. I also have done some presentations, and also there are some things that are cooking. I'm still in the kitchen, just cooking some things. Okay, so things are gonna happen, but we're going to wait until it's more concrete before we announce them.
And then second part to that question, what other parts of the world have you done your commendable work? You mentioned some of, I think you talked about Kentucky. Anywhere else?
Yeah, well, I was in Kentucky a few months ago I was a plenary speaker for the International Society for the Study of Trauma and Dissociation. I was also called to Arizona to give a presentation to this corporation that wanted an understanding of what microaggressions were. But from my perspective, I'm also in again, there's things that are still in development, so I don't want to say too much. But generally, it's been I've had correspondence in England, Australia, Brazil, and
Nice.
Jamaica,
Yep.
States, and Canada. But I'm willing to expand. So if any of you people are out there thinking that you would like to hear more of this, I think it's necessary. I think there needs to be. Okay, let me just backtrack. The name of the approach is called rhythm and processing, and that stands for rap. Okay, because I told you I love hip hop. I love the idea that our people can remix anything. Okay, I think that Jamaicans, we needed to create patois. We remixed languages and then made our own dance and made our own traditions that, of course, have African origins and connections. I think we also need to remix psychotherapy. I think we also need to remix the way how we look at society, how we look at race. And that's what rap is all about. That's what the rap technique is.
All right. So a few final points here. Hayden Morrison says, it's true that race is not real, but its impact is really, really real.
Agreed.
And Alafina says, yes, resembles source code. And then Sophia says, the Sophias are dominant in the comments today. LOL. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. So, Ryan, Sophia says, love to get you in the criminal justice system.
Sophia Ramsey.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Do you know that person, Ryan?
She is from BCAN, Black Community Action Network in Peel.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
I think she does the DEI work with Walmart Canada now.
We'll talk about that. Sophia Jacob says, you must have read the article Black Women and the Glass Cliff. Have you read that article?
That article, I don't recall that specific.
Okay, well, don't make assumptions. No worries. Mm-hmm. Ryan, before we let this gentleman get back to his 1-1 and get some sleep, any final comments or questions for him?
You did mention that you tend to work with 18 and up. So for those that have children under 18, would it be good for them to plug into maybe the meditations book, or what things could we do to get them as mentally prepared as possible for this world that we live in that you'd suggest?
So I need to mention this as well, is that I'm a psychotherapist, registered social worker, and a couple and family therapist. And I've realized that many people who are under the age of 18, sometimes, especially when they live at home with their parents, they need family therapy. They need the parents to be in there as well. Sometimes what would happen is I would have parents that would say, fix my child, or they'd say, like, my kid is doing this, like, just meet with them, do your therapy on them, and they'll be good. But then if I was
trying to do that. I was just trying to do that.
Yeah, no judgment. No, I know it's not you, man. But still, it's that people would do this. And if you help the person become unsick and then you return them to a sick environment, to some degree, what happens is they never want to do therapy again. Like, sometimes what happens is the failure, or not even a failure, but sometimes when people get stuck in therapy and then the therapist gets stuck, it makes it so that the client is less likely to want to get stuck again, and sometimes have a bad understanding of what therapy is. I think to some degree, many of us in our own community, we are skeptical of going to therapy because we have been told that that racism doesn't exist, or that our suffering is to be normalized. There's this gaslighting that takes place. Like what the comment said is that there's many Black men who also follow this red pill understanding. And I definitely understand that there are many people that are trying to find something that will help them to make sense of the world. And when we are confused about our origins and confused about who we need to be, we're going to, I think it was Malcolm X who might have said, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And again, I want to make sure I'm not misquoting all of these people. I'm saying all of these quotes, got to be careful. Okay, but the idea is still there, is that we want to just make it that that people are able to see therapy as something that can be helpful for them. And the way to do it, I think, is to increase the amount of Black therapists that are there, but also to increase their effectiveness and to make it so they're doing the work properly. And that's part of the goal here. And so it's not just psychotherapy, it's also family therapy. So we need more family therapists that are in there, because our young ones, sometimes they are just the identified patient. They are showing the problem that the system is, the people with the power in the system are actually experiencing, which is a metaphor for what we as Black people experience as well. Our suffering is an indication of the problems that exist in the system itself.
All right.
Absolutely appreciate
That's
that.
it. That's all. Okay, just a few last comments. So Christopher Lawrence says, yes, we are very creative and intuitive, and yes, we can remix the remix. Yes.
That's what's up.
Yes.
Opal Inspired, who's now at 50 YouTube followers. Yay. Wow, remixing psychotherapy. I would love to see that. And then finally, Ray from the Macmillan Group, our sponsors on Monday, says, so profound in everything we do, it should be a family conversation. We may perhaps see more positive results with that approach. And Sophia Ramsey says, take care and have a wonderful day. Well, hope you're going to subscribe. Any last words for us, Mr. Archer? I'm going to just share it to the family. Would you like to see David back? Put the comments in the chat. And David, any final words you have for us?
The final word is that for anyone who's hearing this, regardless of where you come from, what your past looked like, just know that you are a person of value. Just know that you are a person that has a purpose, even if it is sometimes that we are clouded of knowing what our purpose is. I feel the universe has a way of being able to just to bring awareness and bring moments of gratitude that help to put us back on track. So I really do hope that people also understand that although I'm grateful for these comments, my message wouldn't be heard if you weren't listening to it. And thank you for Dr. Vibe. Thank you for inviting me, like to be able to do this, because it's not the message itself is important, yes, but the people who listen to it are kind of what make the message exist in the first place. But it's not only about the words, we also need these types of actions as well. That's the reason why I created the books, for people to read it, for people to understand it, but also not just to learn about anti-racism, but to be about it as well. And
before you run, could you say for us, you are now watching The Morning Vibe?
You are now watching The Morning Vibe.
Okay, we got it. We have a
That goes in the intro.
Okay, we have to change up the intro now. We got to work on change up the intro now. Yeah, that's a done deal.
Mr.
That's
Archer,
a done deal.
Thank you. This was
and I know you don't think. I know you love the comments. You don't think that much. But you're gonna share them before you leave. So, Dr. Tachi says this was an amazing convo.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
Divine Right says yes, we would love to see him back.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Tachi, yes, we want David back. Sophia Ramsey, done.
Yes.
Sophia Jacob, yes, please. Frequency Event Promotions, David Archer, every Wednesday, coming soon. Put
pressure on the man.
That's funny.
Shirley J says, yes, thank you, David. And Frequency goes, that was a question, by the way. So you're questioning me. Okay, we'll see. Opal Inspired says, absolutely want you back. Fitness IQ, amazing conversation. Sophia Jacobs, oh my. And Divine Right goes, change the intro pronto.
I was telling you.
That's funny.
And Dr. Tachi ends off going, wow. So that is amazing. Thank you for making this.
Thank you.
This is again one of the top ones we've ever had.
Oh, wow.
on the morning.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
And the thing is, I watched the analytics. People aren't leaving; they're staying. So as you said, value. I think there's another comment here. Oh, Hayton Morrison, I'm getting threats now. Hayden,
Jeez.
if now he doesn't come back, I'll
Oh,
stop
my
watching
goodness.
the show.
Oh man.
Just watch the
That's
replay
okay.
to get to wet your whistle a little bit. The replay will be up.
And frequency event promotions puts in capital letters. We are powerful. All right. This has been
man.
amazing. David, thank you so much for taking the time out of your very positive, productive schedule to share with us today. And let's see the audience has spoken. They want you back, guy.
Let's make it happen, man.
All right, see, there you go, family.
Yes.
So we're looking. Well, we'll talk. We'll release it to you soon in the wonderful world that David will come back on somewhat a periodic basis to hang out with us, because you see he does have a 1-year-old. Plus he's universal. He's worldwide. You hear all the countries and all that. So
Yes.
David, I like to say as always, make sure you give yourself grace and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Thank you for hunting me down, because I honestly, I did not know who you were. And then our conversations have been rich ever since. And I'm actually going to do something. I'm going to read what you get when you email him, because I think people need to, let's see. Let me see if I can get one of the No, look, I want to read. This is how, like, you don't hear too many people say this on their email. Hello, thank you for your message. Potential clients, please note that I may have a delayed response to your requests. If it's an emergency, dial 911. If you're looking to meet with another therapist, there are other, and we even talk about EMDR. We need to talk about that next time.
Oh, right.
Yes. And then workshops, collaborations, or anything else not related to clinical interventions or urgent need. If this relates to a topic other than taking you on as a client, please note that I may respond anywhere in the next 7 days.
All right.
And that's all right.
Create your boundaries, man.
And there you go. And Sharon Knight closes off saying, amazing show. Please come back. Have a great day, everyone. So
thank you,
David. Make sure you and your family, make sure you give each other grace and don't just manage your time, manage your energy.
100%.
Thank you so much. Take care, my man. Be well. Okay, family. Woo!
That was excellent. That's up there with the most comments ever in a show.
Like old school Ohio players. Fire. Dun, dun, dun. It's an old song by Ohio players. David knows that song, but fire. And definitely, David, yes, we will get him to do a morning vibe intro. We will get to that, because we're gonna make that happen. See, he has so many talents. So, Ryan, what did you get out of conversation? What didn't you get out of this conversation?
It's introspection on how we deal with our environment, and now things that are, and I think Hayton said it might be created and fake, but it impacts us in a real way. So really and it was interesting when he mentioned that we know our oppressor more than they may know ourselves. It made me start to think how, the way that we think about white people is interesting, because we think a lot about them. And that's what I started to realize, that they're on our mind a lot. So I wonder, I have a lot of introspective thinking to do. How about yourself?
Just for me, the amount the audience enjoyed the conversation, because I don't do this for me, I do it through me. So when I see the engagement of someone they had never met and they didn't leave and they were engaged and asking questions, that's when you have those special moments. And what I do, where you just see it's not about me, it's through me. So when I see that, and like I said, there's a whole other realm of things. Like, we didn't even talk about EMDR. That's a whole conversation in itself. And most people don't even know those letters. They don't know them, but they probably they'll realize them after David breaks it down, and how he can just able to break things down, and his voice, it grabbed your attention. Like, I'm seeing the day where people will close their eyes to hear, oh, that's him. They won't even like,
I'm getting that audio version of the meditation.
The audio books are a must. They're absolutely a must. Like that, I know I'm sure Divine Right's going to be emailing him. because Ryan Rock does publishing and book publishing, self-publishing, book workshops, and all those things. So she's probably gonna wave a contract in his face sooner rather than later.
And who was at Frequency? Christopher Lawrence.
Oh my gosh, I want to get this gentleman here. But and something came to my mind. I'm gonna see if I can get David on with either Leslie McEwen, or with Dr. Alicia Watkins.
Yeah.
That would be just like,
if possible, the three of them. I remember you did a whole panel of
Black physiotherapists but I'd like to get those three together, and I would just turn on the live button and I would leave. I just leave.
Become the viewer.
I just say, okay, I'm gonna go on a laptop, another laptop, and just be audience, right? No, produce. So, okay, so a lot of great things. So, a few things. First things first. Coming up on this Friday's show, Toronto-based multi-award-winning poet, author, and visual arts and educator Nadine Williams, owner of Nadine Williams Collective. She is going to be on the Morning Vibe. A few other things. So you can see at the bottom where you can watch the replays. So I'm just saying that. So you can watch them on the Dr. Vibe Show, Facebook and YouTube, Ryan Oneil Knight, YouTube and LinkedIn, Afro-Caribbean Business Network, Facebook and YouTube. Some other housekeeping things. If you're up to it, please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Then also like the Dr. Vibe. If you enjoyed
this conversation, hit that like button. Smash it.
If you didn't, your wood is wet. Next comment.
No,
all right.
So much. Thank you.
Yes, to advertise. You know what? That's just spelling your business or service. I got to correct that on the show. Please email me at dr@drvibeshow.com. And the Morning Vibe, if you want to just join our Discord group, please join our Discord group. Actually, what I'm going to start doing is maybe if David has any selective writings that he'd be allowing to put, we could put them in there.
Yeah,
as a little
maybe
tease.
A couple of the meditations.
Yeah, maybe that. I got to talk. There's some things need to talk to Mr. Archer about a number of different things.
Nice.
All right. And before we exit out today, over the last few weeks, you've seen on Mondays that someone's been handling the comments. It has not been me. Especially on a day like today, I'm glad I haven't had to click and read. So we've had a wonderful young lady from Sheridan College who's in the film and arts program.
Shout out.
Caitlin Slama been doing that, was the last few weeks doing this, but she's been doing all the editing for the replays of State of Things with Aisha, Jill, and Lala. And this is her last day with the Morning Vibe because she has to go back to school. She has a few more projects she has to finish off with me. And I didn't get a chance to do it on Saturday, but she's in the green room. I said, I'd rather do it live. So Caitlin, I want to thank you personally. And I think I can include Ryan on this, for making the Morning Vibe better. So appreciative. You are so easy to work with. I'm just really, really, really happy. And the continued success, I got your back if you need any help. I really appreciate everything that you've done, and you've just been such a great person to work with.
Thank you.
So get back to our comments now. Hold on. Right. So Frequency Event Promotion says, Vibe, I'll connect with you after the show. I want to know you're going to hunt David down. Okay. Dr. Tachi says, Dr. Alicia and David would be great. There we go. I'm actually going to send her the link to this conversation. Kate, which is her, sends hearts. So Kate, thank you. And Divine Right goes, oh no, she's done an amazing job. You're already missed. And then Kate says, it has been a pleasure working with you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Right back at you. And Divine Right says, good luck with the school year. And also Dr. Tachi, clap, 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 clap. Maybe down the line, you can do some stuff with myself and Dr. Tachi. So that's it. We've had a full conversation today. It has been fantastic. So Ryan, any final things before we call it off today? Anything else?
No, looking forward to Friday's conversation. You're getting the big hitters, man. Thank you so much. And thank you to the Morning Vibe family.
Yeah, big time. Anything planned for your week?
It seems calm. A couple lunch meetings, which is a new wrinkle into the agenda. So,
Okay.
yeah, seeing people in person, we'll see how that shifts from Zoom. So, yeah.
Okay. Frequency event promotions. Last two comments. Absolutely. Says, no, we have a networking event coming up that we'd like to advertise on your platform. Well, you know how to get a hold of me.
Let's
And
do
then
it.
Kate says, thanks, Dr. Tachi. It was wonderful to meet you. Yes. And that's one of the things I'm going to encourage is if you have interns, ask how you can help them.
Mhm.
Ask how you can help them. And one of the things I do with most of the interns that come on board, I have, hey, would you like to meet a Dr. Tachi? Would you like to meet an Ernest White II, who's the only Black man in North America who hosts a regular travel program on a major network? He hosts it on PBS. So I give these interns access to these people who can help them move forward. So
Excellent.
that's it. That's all. For the last time in the immediate future, we're going to have our end roll with Caitlin's name in it. And we finish off with this. I forget what I was going to say. I had a blank moment. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. God bless. Peace well. Keep the faith while good. We're going to miss you, Caitlin. Be well. Take care, everybody. See you Friday.